Hey honey bunches, how are you? I hope you're well. You like my fish? It's a stuffed animal that's gorgeous and it's cozy to hold when you're going off to sleep. I don't need to explain that. How are you? It is a Friday. I look quite loungewear-ish because I've had a really rough week with PMDD, but yesterday was really good and I am feeling still better today, and I have a nice afternoon planned. A friend and I booked this kind of like hybrid yoga, not sure what else to expect, but I think it's mainly yin yoga, like winter special evening class at her favourite studio in Brunswick. So we're going to do that, but I'll go over north side in the afternoon to beat the traffic if that's possible, and maybe go to Terra Madre and a few other places and have a nice late lunch. A little update, I've been writing lots. I finished my toolkits non-fiction program I got into. It was a 3-month course and it was so good, and I'm writing so much and like really solidified a very joyful, sustainable writing practice, and I've submitted to lots of places. I have a piece coming out about potatoes, where potatoes act as like a metaphor for everything good in the world. It's a very like euphoric, uplifting, not too deep, kind of romantic, playful, a bit cheeky essay coming out this month, so I'll be sure to mention it on Insta when it comes out. And the final outcome piece is called It's Not an Elephant in the Room, It's a Dog, and I'm really happy with that, and I'll definitely share that when that's published. I'm much more active on Insta these days and newsletters and doing microbakery stuff when in the capacity that it's still doable, in like a limited run flash sale kind of vibe. I don't mean for YouTube to be a slightly desert-like quiet space, but if you haven't read my newsletters, I have an autism assessment booked in November, and that combined with realising I'm very non-binary and prefer they them pronouns, and trying to figure out like how you've lived a life masking so well that you fooled everyone around you and yourself, and trying to undo that, because if you don't know, like masking is not helpful for your health, and mental and physical. The microbakery probably involved so much masking that it contributed to feeling extremely burnt out end of last year, and that's how a lot of late diagnosed people discover it's like when they reach their limit, because if you're not doing well in brain and body, then autistic traits become much more pronounced. There's also a quote that I can't remember, but it's something like, whatever context of childhood made the undiagnosed autistic girl, because it's late diagnosis often is much more common in women and girls, even though I don't like being identified as a woman, but obviously I'm more in that category from a data and diagnosis perspective. The environment, social, cultural, institutional, whatever factors that like buoyed you along in childhood, the changes and all those things that occur in adulthood can reveal the autistic traits. YouTube is a form of masking, and it's my choice. That's why probably unconsciously a contributing factor that I started it, but it still requires a lot of energy, and increasingly over the last few years I found it like pretty hard to naturally have the energy to like vlog a whole day or just want to be on camera, because I guess I don't actually know how to be, nor is it comfortable, because consciously or unconsciously being forced that your unmasked self is not ideal and welcome. So I don't know if that's making sense, but I'm hyper aware that people have got to know me as probably a very masked version of myself, and I need to try and unmask. And then to unmask while being watched, not a appealing prospect, you know? And that definitely relates to how I've not enjoyed editing myself increasingly in the last year. But I don't want to disappear entirely, and I do like continuity and still popping in and saying hi in this form. So here's me doing that here and there. I can imagine myself like down the line when I've hopefully moved out, and I know that will really help my mental health and like ability to unmask, then I will really relish making videos again. Oh, it's also really common in late diagnosed autistic situations, and obviously I don't know that I'm autistic, but my GP and my psychologist, who can't do the assessment because that's just how it works in Australia, and myself, because I think that's valid, because if no one's picked up on yourself, and that leaves one person, you, to figure it out. They all think I am, so yeah, November will be fun. It's in the week of my birthday, the assessment as well, so yay! What was I saying? It's common to have a skill regression, and I felt that in just general ability to be productive and live in life and cook, and consequently I've had a bit of like there's a saying for like toddlers, like better fed than not, like just, you know, food is food, and sometimes you just need to focus on being fed than like making incredible, extremely nutritious for every meal type of meals. And I'm someone who, when I'm more anxious, has less appetite, so it's been more just like, just keep eating enough and eat well, but that hasn't always looked particularly, I don't know, HBOT. I'm still publishing recipes consistently, and including a Fabutabulous, which I got great feedback on recently, Tosca Kaka cake, which like has the almond caramel, it's like a Swedish almond caramel cake. And that snack I had before was with the new Minimalist Baker vegan and gluten-free burger buns, which uses brown rice, almond flour and potato starch, and it is really, really good. It's so tasty, and I would love to have like a focaccia or some kind of savoury bread, even like really lovely sandwich option for the micro bakery. And so I'm very grateful for that recipe, because it's such a resource in how those flours interact, and I'm excited to work off it for, yeah, focaccia sandwich bread. The piece I was working on this morning is a review for a orchestral album coming out in September by a Canberran composer, Matthew Webster. He's on Spotify, and it's like a semi-autobiographical movie score sounding album depicting his experience living with complex severe mental health problems, and it's beautiful and brilliant, and it's a really important piece to me because I want to do right by him and really advocate for him, but it's also really hard because the subject matter's semi-familiar, and a review is not my speciality. I'm more creative non-fiction, but reviews are really good to know how to write, because things are always needing to be reviewed, publications are always accepting reviews, and it can be a great like way to get out of a writing rut by like shifting your focus onto something external. So I'm kind of starting with a really challenging thing because it's really long reviews. If you're not sure, it's not like a 150 word thing you might find in a newspaper. It's more like you're talking about the work, but you're also weaving in like an extended essay vibe that the work brings up. So this piece brings in like the tortured artist trope and chronic devaluing of the arts, and that people should be able to do jobs that they can do and are good at, even or especially if they're in the arts. Yeah, it's a hunker chunk of ideas coming together, but I'm getting there. I remind myself that for every very like pushing something uphill kind of writing session, the next one often feels much more euphoric and pleasurable, so we'll just hope for that. I'm gonna wear something different going into the city, and I'll try and remember to film as much as I can, but knowing me, I do find the city kind of hard, and a bit scary, so I won't lie, I'm also doing this as like a gentle exposure therapy because I don't want to be scared of the city, and like I want to keep being able to go to places that I know I would enjoy on some level, so we try. It's really hard to show outfits on this aspect, but Merrill shoes with comfy socks, these Lululemon stretchy pants were like a really great op shop find at the start of this year. So it was this Fair Isle jumper. It's kind of small, but it's stunning, so trying to make it work. This little vest was also an op shop number. I'm wearing a binder for the second day ever. It's very comfortable, sizing was like very easy to follow. But I'm also bringing a change of clothes for the class this evening, including regular, nearly lost all its elastic sports bra, because binding safely is important, obviously. This will sound like an ad, but it's not. I will also bring some loop earplugs. It's actually the second pair I've bought because I lost one of the first one. Anyway, when I'm not sleeping too great and want to shut out extra noise, I use that one, you know, like, because you don't need one where your head's hitting the pillow. This is the quiet ones, and they are very quiet. They do a good job. Sook pants now. They are this Melbourne-based brand of workwear pants for like with female bodies in mind, and they're so much comfier than I imagined because they're quite high waist and I don't really wear that anymore because of comfort reasons, but they've like struck balance. They're really cool. They have heaps of pockets along the leg. They feel like a very soft chino. They had a really nice green, but it was a bit too lime. They say they do fade, but I thought, no, I'll just play it safe. I will have other things I can wear with them. I'm now going to go to Terra Madre, and I'm going to go to the Brunswick one. It's like this epic Whole Foods store where they have everything, and it's much, well, I don't know, I haven't been there in a while, but it is generally cheaper, and they have a huge bigger one in Brunswick. I've only ever been to the Northcote one, which is like cattle going to slaughter. It's very small corridors. I'm feeling really calm. I was feeling a bit daunted by how much time I have to kill, but I think this will be perfect. I might get some snacks to top myself up. I think it's channeling the water element type yin class.
Don't wanna be forward, don't wanna cross a line, but if I were to crash in this plane tonight, I'd want you to know this. Don't wanna say too much, intrude on your space, but if I were to crash and I never made it home, I'd want you to know this. Oh, and to tell you is too scary, so I'll just say something else. And I wish that you could hear me when I talk to myself, but this plane might not land safely, so what the hell do I have to lose if I just tell you